Hey guys, I wanted to show you my progress when it comes to the Golf. Soon enough, I'm hoping that I'm gonna be able to assemble everything and get the car out of here and move forward with the stuff that we have to do. But before I do that, I had to make sure that everything is okay with the suspension and stuff, and I needed to disassemble and replace some of the stuff. But before I get into what I'm doing at the moment, I wanted to jump under the car and show you how I restored everything from the last video. I'm finally able to show you how everything is supposed to be under the car. Okay, so this is how the car looks like now. This piece was broken and missing the last time. I don't know where the old one went, but as you can see, we have new bolt over here, new bolt over here. The new metal piece is securing the engine in place, and over here we have the hose that was damaged, so this is replaced as well. So the hydraulic pump is once again connected. The hose is not hitting the fan. As you can see, there is quite a bit of distance between them, so everything looks fine. And this is what I had to do to get the car back as it should be. Unfortunately, I discovered that we have some problems with some of the parts, and because of them I had to remove the control arms on the both sides. They need some new bushings at the back. I'm going to show you that in a moment. On this side I had to remove and replace these bolts. The outer bolt is okay, the outer ball joint, but the inner ball joint on this side is damaged, so I had to get the control arm out of the way so I can remove this ball joint, the inner ball joint on this side, and replace it. But let me get out of the car and show you why am I frustrated about what I'm doing at the moment. So this is one of the control arms, and I was mentioning these bushings over here that have to be replaced. As you can see, this is cracked. On the other control arm, on this control arm, I have already disassembled the ball joint and the bushing is gone. Since I'm ready to install the new ones, this is the ball joint that is on the inner ball joint on the steering rack that I had to replace as well. But why am I frustrated and annoyed, and I'm making this video because of that, is the bushings, the spare parts. What is the problem? This is the old one. As you can see, there is significant damage on it and has to be replaced. But once again, I am faced with the problem with the spare parts. This is the new bushing that supposedly had to fit the opening, but I don't know if you can tell, this thing, it has this distinctive egg shape. It is more like a spheric thing. Over here, from this side to this side, when measured, it shows 59 millimeters. On this side, the size is approximately 61 millimeters, when the opening on the control arm, it is supposed to be 59. So I'm guessing that or this won't fit. I will have to grind it or smash it really hard into the opening and make it fit by significant force probably. And I'm annoyed because I have to struggle once again to get the new supposedly fitting parts to the car, which is frustrating. Just now, moments ago, I had to modify the coil springs on one of my friends. Bought 4 coil springs 1 or 2 months ago for his Fabia, and the springs on the back were perfect, but the springs on the front were making the car look like a SUV, and we had to cut them and bend them, modify them to fit the car, which was insanely annoying. And now I'm facing the same problem with these bushings, which is incredibly annoying. Well guys, surprisingly enough, with some persistence and some force, I was able to get the new bushings in place. Usually, if this is way too much of a problem, I will just go on and buy new control arms, but in this case these ones were serviceable and there was no need for that. I'm surprised, pleasantly surprised, that the bushings are back into place without any problems. When you install this type of bushings, you can see that on the bushings there are these little dots that should correspond with this little dot over here. I don't know if you can tell, but this is actually a mark that shows the correct position of the bushing. So this is something that you should consider. In my case, as I mentioned, pleasantly surprised that I was able to get this in without any problems. What I mean is, for the bushing to get damaged or destroyed, usually that might happen when this type of bushings are installed and they have this much of a difference when it comes to the opening and the bushing, but these ones were nice enough to get inside of the holes without problems. So the ball joint is installed, the both control arms are ready to be reinstalled on the car, and as I mentioned, a few other stuff including the front brake pads as well. I will have to replace them. I forgot to mention that in the previous part. Well guys, I wanted to finish the video a while ago, and I was hoping that what I said before is going to be everything that I will have to say about this Golf. Unfortunately, the problems are keep piling on, and in this case, this is something that happens to me for the first time. I have been doing things like this, I mean replacing brake pads, removing calipers for quite some time already, and I wasn't expecting to have any problems with this thing, but in this case there is a problem, so I have to show it to you since it is a very stupid one. On this car, as I mentioned, I already installed the brake calipers. I removed the bolts, the brake guides, took the caliper out, and even cleaned everything. Applied some. This is the bolt that is guiding the caliper, keeping it into place. I even cleaned it, applied some grease that is specially designed for this thing, this job, and when I was about to retighten everything, I tightened the bolt on the top, and when I was about to tighten the bolt on the back, there was nothing happening. I was turning and turning and turning, and nothing was actually tightening. So what happened is, when I disassembled the bolt, when I removed it, I didn't see any problem. I didn't expect anything to get wrong, but I don't know if you can tell, the thread, most of the thread is on the bolt. So the thread is gone, and I can't tighten this bolt, and I can't mount the caliper, of course. So I will have to find a solution to this, and this is gonna be very frustrating and difficult problem to solve, because on most of the cars, at least what I have seen, the brake caliper is connected to a brake caliper holder, some sort of a bracket metal thing that is connected through usually two big screws that are going at the back, kind of connecting this part to the hub of the wheel. But in this case there is no such thing. The brake caliper is actually connected to the wheel hub. This is in fact the wheel hub itself. There is nothing that can be removed or replaced, so that means that if I can't replace the thread, I will have to replace the whole hub, which is gonna be insane, and I don't know what I'm gonna do next. I will try to fix this problem, but I wanted to mention that. So now I will have to get the brake caliper once again off the car. The brake disc, of course, has to come off, and I will try to deal with the thread. Hopefully I'm gonna be able to fix this thing. If not, as I mentioned, I will have to disassemble and replace the whole hub, which is something that I don't want to do. Otherwise, I was able to reassemble the suspension, and this was one of the last things that I had to do to replace the brake pads, reassemble the tires, and deal with the exhaust, as I mentioned in the previous videos, but that is something else that I wasn't going to mention for now. But yeah, very annoying and strange problem that I'm facing for the first time, which was a big surprise. So now when I have kind of shared that with you, I will get back to work so I can fix the problem and potentially reassemble the car. So guys, I want to show you what I did to solve the problem that I'm having with the Volkswagen. First of all, I should say that originally the thread on this bolt was 9 mm. So in order for me to fit anything, since over here was destroyed, I had to or weld some material into the opening and make it 8 mm, since I don't have the tool to make it at 9. We are trying to find such a tool at the moment, but it's not important. I ended up drilling this little bit and I made the thread to be 10 mm. As you can see, it looks great now. So once I made that 10 mm, I had to weld a bit of material onto the bolt and also make the thread at 10 mm. It's not perfect since I don't have the proper tools to do it perfect, but it is good enough. Let me try to show you the bolt. I'm hoping that this is gonna focus on it. I don't know why the camera cannot pick it. It's not perfect, but it is good enough, at least from what I can see. The thread is gonna do the trick. So now I'm going to use the new bolt with the new thread and some thread lock as well. So hopefully this is gonna solve the problem and we are gonna be able to move past the Golf. So yeah, I'm gonna give it a try. I threaded this and it seemed to be working fine. I want to assemble everything just to make sure that there is no problem. So I'm getting back to work. Well guys, on this side the things are even worse. So I want to briefly mention what happened. On this side, when I unscrewed the bolts, unscrewed is kind of strong word. I literally took them out with the thread itself and I had some success at the top repairing the thread, but at the bottom I was almost there and the tool that I was using to make the thread broke inside of the hole. So now I can seems to get it out, and apparently I will try to get this thing out of the hole, but I'm guessing that most likely I will have to replace the hub. So this is probably the worst brake pad replacement that I had to perform so far, and there is tons of work involved when it comes to replacing these things. Well guys, after all, we ended up disassembling the hub and we're going to try to replace it. This is the old hub with the problem that we had on the side, and unfortunately the new hub, it was very difficult for us to find this hub. Apparently these Golfs have more than one type of hubs, and this is because of the size of the brake disc. These jaws over here are keeping the caliper in place, apparently are with different length, so it is kind of difficult to find the correct hub for our vehicle, and this is the only hub that we could find. Unfortunately, from what I can tell, one of the threads on the bolts is also destroyed on the bottom side, so I will try to freshen up a bit the thread and install this thing, since we don't have any other choice for the moment. So let's hope that this is gonna work and I will be able to get the Golf out of here. Well, I have repaired the thread that was the problem, this one over here, but now I didn't pay attention once I started assembling everything, and I just realized that there was a broken bolt inside of this little thread over here. I had to drill it out and restore the thread. This is for this little bolt that holds the brake disc into place, and I think everything is gonna be fine now, but I had to spend some time repairing this as well on top of everything else. So I wanted to show you that there are tons of problems when it comes to these old cars, and particularly this car in my case, which is giving me a headache on every single step that I have to take. So guys, the car is fully assembled, and the one thing that I should show you is how I solved the problem with the exhaust. So let's dive under the car for me to show you that. Well guys, this is it. It's not super fancy or anything, but I think this is gonna be okay, at least for the time being, and we can safely drive the car with this thing, not worrying for the exhaust. So pretty much this is it under the car. Well guys, this is gonna be all for this video. I hope it was helpful or entertaining, and we'll see each other in my next videos. Thank you so much for watching, stay tuned, and bye for now.